something I learned very early on in design is that when you say customer to a company, it's often not the consumer, i.e. you and me. So with mobile phones, for instance, you are not, and we are not the customer. Carphone Warehouse is the customer, the big buyers are the customers. And so that feedback loop tends to happen there, and we're often some sort of meat at the other end that kind of, well, maybe what they think matters, maybe it doesn't. The really exciting bit about all this is when one talks about simplification, certainly people like Johnny Ive and Jobs at Apple made a mantra out of simplification. Actually, what you're looking at there isn't simple at all. What it is it's actually quite complex, but it's anthropologically accurate, and this is the trick. It doesn't matter how developed technologies are, that's almost an irrelevant. The way in which we work with them is that we have matched the interface with the desires and needs of the person using it. And simplification is only one of those things, and there are times when simplification is actually wrong. Some of the things that we do, we like to be complex. Some of them we like to be very granular and physical. Some we want to be very slick and easy. But these are all mixed up at the moment because they've been mediated by what technologies are available to do them. Digital, mechanical, whatever it is. Now we have a chance to take a deep breath and find the right ways to do a number of things. Do you want playing a piano to be simpler than it is? Or more complicated than it is? Do you want operating your iPhone or iPod to be more or less complex? That is one way of doing it. And as a designer, I believe in the removal of obfuscation. By that I mean taking away of all the stuff that doesn't mean anything, getting to the truth, and then moving from there. The truth may be that what we want is something highly textured, laminated experience. It might be something, let's simplify the banquet, shall we? Yeah, we'll take the hors d'oeuvres away. No more deux noir peut-être. Come on, it's not like that. It's very specifically down to the removal of the irrelevant and the amplification of the relevant, both in emotional terms and in technical terms. And that's actually what design should be about. And of course, it's as much to do with the functionality of anything as it is to do with the appearance of it. So it isn't just about simplification. It's always been there. One of the things I'm concerned about as we move forward, as I said, these things happen so slowly one doesn't even notice, but the replacement of physical things by digital equivalents is something that's happened to all of us so much that we hardly even notice it's happening. Designers that spend, like me, a lot of their life in front of a screen are missing out a lot of things. And the same thing for us that receive design and consume design, people that just buy stuff, is we want to have into this the physical texture of existence. We need to evolve in a way that we're getting all of our senses triggered. So it's not as if the emotional relevance of something is a new thing. I think someone wrote a book called Emotional Design. I'm going, well, what the hell's that? I mean, all design's emotional in one form or another, isn't it? I mean, a really good drawing pin or thumbtack or whatever, that could be emotional. It's never not been there. What has happened is that things have moved out of phase. So there have been periods of modernism where the form followed function, and then postmodernism where it didn't really matter, but we could do this or that. And this stuff rocks backwards and forwards. The emotional significance of design has been there since long before the word design was ever invented. Everything that is not nature is design. To bowdlerize Goethe's original statement, is everything that is around us is considered and put together in a certain way, and the ones that miss out the emotional relevance to an organism that is, most of our processing is about sensorial processing. It's not about cognitive issues. It's about the stuff pouring into us. Anybody that ignores that in any design has got to be out of their mind. The two aspects are overthinking of design. What do we mean by that? Over-intellectualizing the relevance of something. Yeah, I think there is. But also at the same time, there's a diminution of philosophy in design at the moment, which I do find very disturbing. 25 years ago, I knew what the main sort of proponents of design thought because they wrote. I could open Domus or Design Magazine or something, and there would be somebody who I considered to be a great designer actually writing something about what they did and the philosophical underpinning of it. And that is sadly lacking at the moment. So I find it a curious dilemma, this one, that when now communication on a global level is not only cheap, it's ridiculous, it's a webcam. That there should have been this evaporation of the rigour of the philosophical underpinning a lot of it. So overthinking design, i.e. not going with the force, Luke, yeah, there's a lot of that, but at the same time I want to hear more from people and design practitioners about why they're doing it and what they're doing. Because we're navigating half of this stuff, for crying out loud, and the 21st century is far too complex a landscape to be imagining that one person can do this all on their own. We need to be holding hands a lot more. When people say the design industry, of course, that's an oxymoron. We are not an industry at all. We're a raggle-taggle bunch of guilds and individuals and worthies all hacking away in our own little corner, and there is no global sort of magnet or lamp for the moths to fly towards. There are wonderful things like this conference which bring people together, and it's one of the reasons why I always try to attend things like this is the opportunity to mix information in with others and to stimulate myself and my work. That's why I do it. Is it a concern? Yes, it is a concern. I think there are others. I think architecture is far better configured in its ability to be able to talk to itself, to promulgate its views on a higher calling. I find it delicious that if we take the UK as an example, I can think of 2 or is it 3 architectural lords in the UK, Lord Rogers and Lord Foster, and you go, and where's Lord Conran or Lord, where are they? And you go, yeah, it's true. There's another issue, which is still this sense of misunderstanding about what's going on and what people do and how it changes their lives. There are some pop star style designers who have found the way to sort of make themselves a brand in that regard. I must confess it's something I've never found particularly attractive. I don't design Richard Seymour's. I design Nokia's. I design, this's and that's, or Ford's, or and work within the businesses to do it. It's something I find much more interesting. I'm not remotely interested in the sort of pantheon of all of that stuff. I'd rather be just getting the hell on with it. If those are the disciplines, this is where you have to be now. Graphic design, blah, 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 product, you name it, gone. Bye. Gone. A new hegemony, a new hegemony arises from this eternal sea that is the internet and everything. All of this is up for grabs. It's all up for grabs. Now, I just happen to be, because of my background, a multidisciplinarian. But it's served me in a number of ways. One is it's given me broader bandwidth to understand what's going on. And that's actually the valuable thing to me. It isn't the fact that I worked in different areas, it's the fact that I actually get some sort of tag on what's going on. And what's going on is all of the old rules are dissolving. And what worries me is that colleges and universities will continue to promulgate the old disciplines when they're already melting in front of our very eyes. What are the new ones? Very simple. Broad bandwidth and the guilds. This is those that can think across the boundaries and the brilliant practitioners that can assist that thinking to come about. And that's the Renaissance. That's the 16th century back again. If we embrace that and we redetermine it, broad bandwidth thinking, brilliant practitioning, and find ways to connect them, which we already have, then that's the way to move forward. But I don't know how many universities have got that yet. I don't know how many designers have got that yet.